We now move to the report and recommendations of the Task Force on Autonomous Cars. Uh, the report will be presented by the chair of the task force, and I see her up on the screen now, Dean Aviva Abramovsky of Buffalo Law School, will be making the presentation on behalf of the task force. Dean, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. This was actually my first time on a bar committee, and it was my first time chairing a bar committee, so we learned a lot. In a lot of ways, this is a report from a gentler time. It wasn't all that long ago that we were discussing with a lot of sense of importance and pressure about how New York should be involved in the development of autonomous vehicles. And that remains still important because as we see in response to the COVID-19 outbreak, some of these autonomous vehicles are actually being responsive. Starting from last summer, moving through to basically about a month or two ago, the committee engaged with a variety of stakeholders. We had bi-weekly meetings of which we sought to seek expertise and information on this field from lawyers who work in-house, from lawyers in public safety, from all different sorts of constituencies as the committee sought to educate itself on the field of autonomous vehicles and the law. Throughout the course, we engaged in, I have to tell you, a highly interesting debate. There are so many interesting questions of ethics or potential litigation that are raised by the concept of autonomy in a vehicle. And it has been a privilege to have the capacity and opportunity to speak with with so many people and engage in what hopes to be an interesting area of law practice in the future, probably in the not too distant future, because I am an optimist and believe that this autonomous technology will continue to evolve and we will be engaged in it again here in New York State. So basically through the course of this committee, we came to look at all different kinds of issues. There's the question of the nature of autonomy. In the appendix, we're using the SAE phrase about the different levels on the spectrum of what constitutes autonomy. So there's what you would call computer-assisted driving, like when your car backs up and parks itself, and other forms of different assistance, all the way through different levels of autonomy. And there is a line that is demarked by which things become more autonomous vehicles than not. And so that's part of the conversation, is in the nomenclature of what an autonomous vehicle is. In any event, understanding that this is a massive undertaking for this task force to start thinking about all the different aspects of law that may be triggered by autonomous vehicles, in the end of the day, we put together this report, which reflected my understanding with my liaison, the consensus of the committee. So what we recommend is that New York take the step to become slightly more open and position itself as an attractive AV testing forum. And to do that, we recommend that they decrease some of the regulatory burdens and incentivize a collaborative approach between the state, industry, and research institutes, and expand the approach throughout the state so that testing for autonomous vehicles can proceed here, and we have an opportunity to become more a part of the discussion. We also recommend that to avoid potentially dangerous over-reliance on AV technology by consumers, campaigns should be developed to educate the public in order to provide an accurate description of what AV features can and cannot do. That is because there can be some confusion as to how much the driver could rely on that, and we believe New York should do a campaign to help explain those situations. Consideration should also be given to having a mandatory training as a prerequisite to acquiring a driver's permit for highly automated vehicles. And we ask also that New York focus on educating the public about the potential benefits of AVs, which can include mobility for the disabled, the elderly, people in rural areas, all different situations where having an autonomous vehicle can assist in mobility. It can also assist, like we said, in this current crisis, and we believe that it could be a source of future job creation. We ask that New York State emphasize computer simulation for the testing. There is not actually a need to do everything on the road. A lot of, according to the computer scientists, which we spoke with, a lot of very good data can be drawn out through laboratory and virtual simulated testing. So we recommend that as well. And then we remark that New York should balance individual privacy rights against state and local governments' legitimate needs for data. And we ask that the State Bar Association support AB 6014B, which would establish a task force for automated vehicle technology, a state legislative task force. We note that we believe at this time that existing laws should continue to be relied upon as this technology continues to develop. There's been a lot of debate about that, and there's a general consensus, or at least it seems to be as in our report, that the common law as it stands now will be able to develop as these cases emerge. So I have to say that, you know, the most important thing I think we always want to do is to continue to be in the conversation, and as we move forward, to remember to continue consulting with the scientists and have engagement between law and science so that we can recommend and educate ourselves in the different ways in which autonomous vehicle technology can implicate what is our current understanding of how we drive. So with that, I thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Dean, for your report. I will advise the members of the House that at yesterday's meeting, the Executive Committee voted to recommend approval of the report. And at this time, I would ask for a motion to approve the report and recommendations. I'm opening up my chat room.
There's been a motion and a second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Let's open it up to discussion. Is there any discussion on the motion?
No hands are raised, Scott. Actually, yeah, no hands are raised.
All right, no hands are raised, and I'm seeing other than a motion, moves and seconds, I see no requests to speak. So let's, hearing none, we will then proceed with to a vote. Let's open up the poll window. Okay, we're voting on approval of the report of the Task Force on Autonomous Vehicles in the Law. Please vote at this time.
Scott, 1 minute has passed.
Okay, is everybody, I assume everybody's had a sufficient time to vote. I'd say let's close the voting and post the results. Okay, the motion to approve carries overwhelmingly. And with that, I thank Dean Abramovsky and for the members of the task force for a report well done and an important contribution to the future of our association and to our society. So thank you very much.